I'm going to get everyone checked in. And I see that we have Amanda Morehart here. I have you listed as the applicant. If you could just unmute for me, just confirm that is your name. You are the applicant.
Yes, that is me.
Okay, great. And are you expecting anyone else to join us here
No.
on the applicant owner side? Okay, great. And I see that we also have, excuse me, Matt Lascheid here from the zoning department. Hey, welcome, Matt. Hey, Matt, could you say something again?
Matt Lascheid, zoning plans examiner.
Okay, microphone was just a little light there. I just wanted to double
Sorry
check
about that. I had it up on my head. That explains why.
There,
All right.
that's it. I thought the headphones looked a little different.
That'll do it.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and get started, everyone. I need to read through our hearing script. This will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll jump into it. So this is the February 28th, 2024 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. Again, my name is David Sturkey. The purpose of this hearing is to allow, excuse me, is to allow applicants and any opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that the applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If we did have anyone here from the public, they'd have an opportunity to weigh in after the applicant has presented its case. I'll hear from the zoning department and Mr. Lascheid. In the event that any party does testify or offer argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument and offer in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there is some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay. Last thing I do is just swear in all of our witnesses. If you intend on providing any testimony here today, the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So if that's you, if you could raise your right hand and answer out loud, do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth? And Ms. Morehart, are you going to provide any testimony here today?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Ms. Morehart, are you ready to proceed?
Yes.
All right. The floor is yours. Have you been through a zoning hearing before?
I have not.
Okay. So just generally, if you could tell me about the project background you think is important, the relief that you're requesting and why you think that relief is appropriate. That's generally sort of the framework of applicants' presentations, but you can orient the presentation however you would like.
Okay.
I will turn it over to you.
Okay. So Bill and Whitney DeBose had basically just approached me about wanting to do a detached garage. They currently have an existing two-car detached garage that was original to the home. Originally, they had wanted the space above to be finished, but with that 15-foot minimum or maximum height, I didn't think we were going to be able to actually get that finished. So initially they had just planned on doing where they would twist the bays so that you would basically pull down to the back of the house. And then when you pull into the garage, the two bay garages would be right there in the front. And then they were going to do a gable pitched roof. We basically flipped the orientation and brought it further away from the back of the home, just to alleviate some of that height restriction to the back neighbors. And allowed for us to be able to do a dormer window off the front so that if in the future they did want to come and finish that space off, they could. But right now that space above is unfinished. So that was really the only reason we put in the gable off the front. I tried to make it look like it was existing to the home. We did quite a bit of research for their period of home that they're in, to look to see kind of what carriage houses would look like, because that's technically what it would have been. So I was trying to get that same look that would basically, be an aesthetic appeal to their home, their existing home. They've done quite a bit of work on renovating that home. The home to the left is currently empty. I think there was or is plans for that to be renovated as well. So I know that they're trying really hard to basically just update it and bring it up to date. That's really it, as far as their preference. Aesthetically, I thought if I could leave the siding going all the way up like they would traditionally have in that carriage house instead of pushing the dormer back into the middle of the the roof pitch, that would kind of help a little bit with the aesthetic. Um, that's really it. I was just kind of hoping we could basically pull it off the back because there is just a slight grade, like a 2.5 foot grade back to the home behind them. So it is going to sit up a little bit higher. But we're, I think, 38. I can't remember exactly how far away we are. I think we are, yeah. So we're about approximately 30 feet, a little less than 30 feet from that back property line. And that was kind of the hope in making it slightly higher. So we're only asking for a 4 foot extension on that variance. That's really it. That's kind of all I got. I don't know if you
Okay.
need more. We've got pictures of was one garage that's there, but it's existing. So looks like it was part of the original home structure. So, I don't know how much we can kind of use that as to go off of. But they did talk with all of the neighbors to the right, and then the two behind them, as well as the one kind of caddied off to the back left. And they're all fine with it. They've showed them the letter, the statement, the plans. So we haven't had any pushback from neighbors.
Okay. Great. And I've had similar applications in the past with similar densities, and sometimes neighbors have not um, uh, liked these projects as much just because of the potential light issues, that it could cast a shadow on neighboring properties and impact their ability to enjoy their backyards or their gardens. Is that something you see as a potential adverse effect here? And if not, why?
No, the neighbor on the right, um, I'm pretty certain if I remember right, their driveway comes in and they have a garage back there or a shed. So their backyard is about another 10, probably 10 to 12 feet from their property line. So I feel like if there's any shadow on the neighbor to the right, it would be from their garage. The neighbor on the left, we're about 10 feet, and that home does not have any type of a detached garage, and their lot is, it's quite larger than the rest of the lot. So it looks like it's a lot and a size, lot and a half. Um, and then the back behind them, there's a strip of basically some just small trees and some overgrowth of about 12, I'd say probably not quite 12 feet, it's probably 8 feet deep of some just overgrowth from weeds and trees and bushes. So I don't feel like there's anything that would prevent enjoyment from surrounding neighbors from this.
Okay. All right. I think that's all the questions I have right now. I'm going to turn it over to Matt to provide any testimony that he would like. Matt?
Yeah, thank you, David.
Sure.
So, yeah, the relief requested is 4 feet in height. The front of the garage is 19 feet tall when measured from grade at the front to the midpoint of that shed dormer. I think it's worth pointing out the sides and the back of the building where it would face neighbors would be generally compliant. The back of the building, when you measure to the midpoint, is 15 feet, and the sides, when you measure to the midpoint of those, overall gable is 15 feet. So it really only looks taller primarily from the front. And also the garage, the minimum setback requirements for a detached garage are 3 feet. And I think it would be a little bit more difficult for us to support this project if it were 3 feet from the property line. As you noted, we've had some garages that were taller than allowed, but that were also really close to the property line, and there were concerns about casting shadows on neighboring properties. I don't feel that that's the case here. The garage is 10 feet from one side and 14 feet from the other side, and it's 46 feet from the back property line. So with those setbacks, it's important to note the applicant could by right build an addition onto their house that would meet those setbacks, and it would be permitted. They wouldn't even need a hearing for it. So having a detached garage that's only 19 feet tall, when they could theoretically build a 35-foot tall addition on the back of their house that's in the same area, is reasonable, in my opinion. It's difficult to say there's really any hardship here, or substantial property right. However, I think the design of the garage, and like I said, the fact that it's so far from the property line and would not impact any neighbors, for those reasons, staff is supportive and recommends approval.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for your testimony and your work on the staff report. Okay. Ms. Morhart, anything you want to say in response to any of Matt's comments, or anything else in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. I've had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report, and I think you both make good points, Matt. I agree that this, with the setbacks being principal structure compliant, it does. I think that's a good argument and makes a lot of sense. I think it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this particular application. I think it's compatible with the neighborhood and adverse effects are minimized. So based on that and based on the testimony I've heard here today, I'm going to approve the application. Ms. Morhart,
Thank you.
I mentioned at the beginning during the script that I need to formalize that decision in a written opinion. That typically takes about 2 weeks. I'll do everything I can to get it out to you as quickly as possible. What I do is I'll put the written decision into a PDF and then email it to you and Matt in the same email. As soon as Matt receives that email, he's able to approve the zoning permitting on his end. And from a zoning perspective, you'll be ready to move forward.
Okay. Is there any additional costs with, since we've paid the hearing fee, would there be any additional cost that I need to let the homeowner know?
No additional costs from the zoning perspective.
Okay.
Yeah. Not certain where you are on the building side and getting all the building permits. So I can't speak to that, but in terms of this process and getting your zoning approval, there's no additional costs.
Okay. Do I have to go back and resubmit for then the building permit?
Matt, you want to walk her through how you handle that?
Sure.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's fine.
So in David's decision, assuming it says that it's approved, typically I will get that in email form and I can go into your permit. You've already submitted a permit application for this.
Yes.
So it's denied pending this approval. As soon as the written approval comes out, I can go in and write zoning approval, so that you may still be waiting on approval from other departments. I'm not sure, but zoning will be able to approve it as soon as the decision comes out. I believe there's language in there that says include this decision in your application materials. If you had not already submitted a building application, sometimes people come through this process before they submit their application.
Okay.
Then in that case, we would ask that you include that decision with your application and your drawings. But since the permit's already in, as soon as we get the decision in writing, I can go in and approve it for zoning.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
Sounds good.
Okay. If you have anything else you want to ask about, I'm sure Matt would be happy to answer more questions. You can reach out to me directly too, or if you just want a status update on the decision, feel free to reach out to me directly.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Good luck with the project. Have a good day.